Well, looks like there's been enough. All right.
It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It was another episode of AEW Dynamite, but this one was important. First one in the Great White North.
The first one outside of the U.S.
I had to stop and think about that for a second. Yep. But
Mm-hmm.
we are Top Rope Tokes. I'm just saying, that guy.
Range of motions.
And we'll talk to you a little bit about AEW Dynamite coming up here in a few. But I will say, I didn't believe this was going to happen, but there was a small little thing that made me think, well, two things. Ace Steel tweeted something today, like talk about being free, but then it was revealed that the Elite merchandise that was specifically for Canada was on sale at the show. So finding that out before the show, I held out just a little bit of hope, like it could mean a whole lot of nothing, or it could mean something.
Or it could just mean that the elite are going to sell a lot of shirts in Canada, even if they're not on the card.
And that's why I was like, it could be nothing because it's a specifically Canada shirt. It's their first
Mhm.
episode in Canada. It might just be like, hey, we have to get rid of these at the show.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, we already did these shirts. This is the only place we can use them.
So for context sake, when we were at Blood and Guts back in June, when you would go to a t-shirt stand, and I don't mean this was just one t-shirt stand, this was every shirt stand that was in the arena had the same variety of shirts, and there was what would you say, maybe seven?
Yeah, there was probably, yeah, that's about right. More than five, less than 10.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, one of them was a plain AEW shirt. One was a AEW I was there shirt.
Yep,
Then there was the Blood and Guts shirt.
yep,
So out of those roughly seven, there was maybe four different superstars. I believe there was a CM Punk, there was
yep,
a Danhausen,
yep.
and I can't remember who else. I was disappointed there was no Acclaim shirt.
Yeah, yeah, I was real upset about it. I was like, I wanted either an Acclaim shirt or a Swerve and a Glory shirt. Because I was like, they're on a short time span here. You got to get those Swerve and our Glory shirts quick. But that's what I was gonna go for. But yeah, no, I can't remember what else. There might have, I think there was a Jericho shirt. No, wait. Or no, yeah, I think there was a JAS shirt.
I can't remember. But point being, there was very
Hmm.
few shirts for actual wrestlers at the show, not a
Yeah.
ton of variety. So when you have an elite shirt there, after you remove them from promotional materials, all the intro videos and all that kind of stuff, it gave me a little bit of hope. Although
Hmm.
if Steel just tweeted that today, it would be kind of hard to expect them, if everything kind of wrapped up today, like, oh, so they're just gonna fly from Canada or California to Canada and just be ready to go after nothing for weeks. Like, what are you even gonna do with them at that point?
Yeah. Then with how much was on the card, and you knew that most of these matches couldn't be just a quick something like, eh, I didn't think there would be enough time.
At least from my echo chamber of people that I talk to about wrestling, everyone that I talk to is getting sick of not even having answers. Like we have no idea. They haven't said anything. So are they coming back? Which I get, as a company, surprises are a big deal and they're great to have. But the overall silence on the front is just like, what's happening?
Yeah, like we don't even know how long they're gone for. It's just like, yeah, they're gone. All right, that's it.
And they haven't announced anything on the other side between Ace and CM Punk or anything. So like literally it's just silence.
Booty, booty.
I saw Ariel Helwani even said that the Tony Khan interview that he did was one of the most frustrating things he's ever had in his career because he kept trying to talk about Brawl Out, but Tony's like, I can't talk about that. I mean, giving the very, very specific way that he kept repeating certain lines of that, it just kind of goes to show. I mean, what everyone kind of knows slash speculates, it's because of the legal stuff going on behind the scenes. Because it was very much like an NDA, nope, can't talk about it because of legal reasons kind of way.
Just CM Punk is legally not about to be wrestling again. That's for sure.
Uh, yeah, I'm not if this is as bad as it sounds like it's going to end up becoming. Well, between his age and his layoff, and then that happening, yeah, I don't see anybody saying, "Hey, come work for us."
Especially considering he's a bit older now.
Injured a lot.
Like, yeah, hurt a lot now.
The best thing that he could hope for would be a company that's so small that he would never work for them. And I don't mean so small as in like so small, but obviously the major ones. He's already burnt his bridge for WWE. He'd be burning his bridge to AEW here. New Japan isn't going to happen. So he'd be going down the ranks to a company that he probably feels is beneath him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no other
You go to Impact, but yeah.
major companies. Mm-mm. No. He's gonna start CM Punk wrestling.
Yeah. Go back to trying to write comic books, bud. Go back. And
Yeah. And that would CM Punk wrestling would be bad because it's the CPW. This was people would be like, "What's CPW? That better not be colored people wrestling."
oh god. My head I just started going like, hey, you could probably come up with some decent names for that. Chaos Pro Wrestling, Carnage Pro Wrestling,
Mm,
Canadian Palace Wrestling.
hmm
Oh, if they brought it back as a venue, the Cow Palace Wrestling.
Cow Palace wrestling.
Feel like Canadian, just go Canadian Pro Wrestling, but he's not even Canadian.
Yeah,
Oh my god, it'd be Chicago Pro Wrestling.
Chicago. There we go.
I would,
He'll be the world Chicago champion.
and literally, I have never hated a company because of their location before in my life. But that would be a first. Well, I guess that's not true. Every sports team located in Chicago or the state of Ohio.
Yeah, but that's fair though, because
It's in the nature.
yeah, yeah, it's their fault for not being cool.
Well, I take that back. There is the Chicago Cubs, and you know we had Rookie of the Year as as kids growing up.
Mm.
That was the
I was
Cubs,
more of an
right?
Angels in the outfield kind
I can't do it. That movie makes me sad.
of.
It's a little kid, literally, they're just breeding abandonment issues into little kids because he's like, I just want my dad to see me and be so happy we could. gel, or well, I can't think of the word, but we can bond over this magical angels moment. Then the dad's like, nope, still don't want you.
Yeah. Yeah. Dads.
Yeah, those kind of movies I still because like at the age that we were when that came out, I was right there going through it. I was like, oh, this is such bad feelings. I don't like it. I love the movie, but I hate it.
Yeah. 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 I love that movie. It does kind of like it can put you in the feels.
Mhm.
But anyways, um,
We started off tonight with
did
some
tonight put
feels.
you in your feels?
I didn't have feels, but it has to be nice that the first episode in Canada, they signed a woman from Toronto by the name of Renee Paquette, aka Renee Young slash John Moxley's wife. And I already said Renee Young, so as a broadcaster in WWE, and she did sports broadcasting in Canada before she went there. But they signed her, and she kicks off the show at home in Toronto. Just, kind of does the normal, like, welcome to Dynamite, blah, blah, blah. Of course, she gets the big ovation because she's from there and she's new and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Gets everybody cheering for a moment, but she says she's going to bring out a fellow Canadian. We go from cheers to boos real quick because it's Christian Cage. Talks about,
The best consistent booze.
and the weird thing is, he does so much of the low hanging fruit kind of heel stuff. I just don't know. He just makes it work somehow all the time. Like, you love to hate this man.
Yeah,
Um, because
it
even
works for him.
because even being there, like at home, he still took a shot at the Maple Leafs. He said he guarantees a win tonight, like he guarantees the Maple Leafs will have a first round exit in the playoffs.
Nice.
And Renee even have, and this is one of the things that Renee will hopefully continue to bring to the table that we haven't seen much from like the interviewers and personalities. I mean, you do with Tony Schiavone, but I just mean historically over the last like 20, 30 years, even Lexi, you don't see a whole lot of personality shine through. It's usually ask a question and then let whatever happen happen. But when she heard the Maple Leafs line, she kind of, and this is weird knowing obviously that it's all a work and fake and everything else. She kind of gave one of those like cheeky like biting her tongue smiles because it was like, okay, that was good, but you're insulting my team, but you're also from here, so like doing her job, she let it. It was good, but you saw like a reaction in her face. I loved it. But they just introduces Luchasaurus, and then of course you got Jungle Boy's entrance, which is right where you got in to watch just in time. It feels like they definitely were emphasizing the full name though tonight. Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Yeah, yeah. They're definitely rebranding him as Jack Perry, aka Jungle Boy,
Yeah.
because it's going to be real hard to get over Jungle Boy.
I think it's the word
It's like your
boy.
top guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that word boy in the name, like it can't stick around forever, or else you're just like sending them out
Mhm.
for a swim with concrete shoes. Doesn't usually work out so well.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't be a boy forever unless if you're Shawn Michaels. Then you can just be a sexy boy forever.
Sexy
But
boy. Um, I don't know because one of my first notes for this match is I'm gonna ask you a question first. Just give me a hint. Where's your hit of the night?
It comes up very quickly tonight.
Is it in this match?
Yes.
Okay, assuming it's in this match and it's probably the same thing as mine, I just already threw up the graphic.
Yeah. Because my first note of the night was Jungle Boy hitting that destroyer into the table.
The sunset flip power bomb.
The sunset flip power bomby thingy madoodle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was bussin'.
That's why I had to ask, because I was like, if you weren't going to use it, I feel like it needs to be like acknowledged. Luchasaurus had set up a table earlier on at ringside, and eventually they do the whole thing where he's fighting him on the apron, and Luchasaurus is barely hanging on, and Jungle Boy gets that running head start, flips over into the sunset power bomb, and you could tell Luchasaurus had a jump, but it's all, I don't know if he necessarily had to, because he landed kind of far. Like his whole head and shoulders area were on the other side of the table.
Yeah, that was wild. Like he just like overshot it a little bit. But I always forget the Luchasaurus is pretty athletic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got to see it a number of times in this match. Although there was one that scared the hell out of me, because Jungle Boy. See, I can't even transition to calling him Jack
Jungle J
Perry.
jump.
Uh,
Hmm.
but he went for a poison rana, and Luchasaurus did not get turned over all the way, and he kind of landed hard on the back of his head.
There was a couple landings that I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
in this match.
That table spot, though, that actually got Christian to come down from the broadcast table and distract Jack. But when he was coming down and be distracted, the fans started chanting, "Edge is better."
Or line or anything, but
It's hard because they're so different. Like together, they work so well together, but separately, I guess they're both better off as heels, but they're very different types of heels, even in that regard. Christian's just a Weasley bastard.
yeah. I just missed the rated R superstar, man.
There's a reason why that besides Jericho, Jericho and Edge were some of the longest and most consistent like favorites of mine.
Yeah.
Edge was so good. When it was all about John Cena, Randy Orton, and Batista, I was on Team Edge.
Yeah, when it was all about all of them, I was not watching wrestling anymore. I was like, nah, I'm out.
Because
You gotta show me something better,
I
and
mean,
I'll be back.
the Cena days, like when that all started, that's when the rated R really like kicked off.
Yeah.
That I didn't really.
Yeah, like in those, yeah, I was still there for that, and then when he was not rated R, I was like, all right, I'm out. Deuces.
There, at that point, it was. I don't think. I think I basically quit watching right around the time that Eddie. And even before then, it wasn't like every moment of every show. But after that, it kind of became like I just keep up with it. But this match got a lot of great reactions from the crowd. At one point, Jungle Boy hits a kill switch on Luchasaurus, but he kicks out. Jungle Boy goes to get a snare trap, but Luchasaurus gets to the rope. Eventually, Christian causes a distraction. Luchasaurus hits a choke slam off the top rope, and then the throat cut for the win.
Yeah, yeah. That that choke slam off that top rope was pretty dope.
I always
You know
would.
what I want to see? Sorry. I want to see Luchasaurus do his headbutt more often. His headbutt is dope.
He has probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I remember somebody else has a really good one, but off the top of my head, I don't remember who it was, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just yeah, when I think of headbutt in wrestling, the first one I think of is Luchasaurus. And, like I want to see it more often, do it in every match.
Um, After that, we got our second glimpse of Renee as she was backstage with Ethan Page and Stokely, who also had Jose, the assistant, with them. And I have no idea how much of this is coming from the whole Andrade Sammy situation because it looks like La Faction and Gobernables is dead.
Yeah. Um I'm pretty sure it's dead.
There was one
But
reference to it kind of later because Butcher and the Blade still mentioned like working with Roosh.
oh, okay. But eventually it's gonna be dead.
Yeah.
I mean, but Stokely said he bought out Private Party's contract from them.
Mm-hmm.
So now he owns Private Party.
Yeah. And at some point this kind of became a mess of a little bit of promo later. Um, right around the same time that Isaiah might have said your one of your favorite lines of the night.
Yeah, because Ethan said he'll wrestle Isaiah since if they're so confident in themselves, he'll wrestle them for their contract, or he'll wrestle Isaiah for their contracts. And Isaiah's like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna pound your ass." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yep. I don't know
He's gonna
how.
pound his ass, and Ethan seemed to be kind of okay with it. Like there was definitely consent given. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing a Brokeback Mountain or a wrestling match
I
or
mean,
a combination of both, maybe.
it's on Rampage. It's late night TV. But he also said at some point he's gonna fight Matt Hardy for his contract too. He's gonna own all the contracts, which
Yeah, that was dumb.
is really fucked up because let's say they do win.
Hmm.
Well, one, I think it's stupid to make Ethan lose to Isaiah
Yeah,
in a first singles match. Two, the way that you're trying to build up the firm. Like, there's just so many things that makes, unless there's a lot of cheating involved, it makes no sense. But if all of a sudden the firm gains all those contracts too, now you're back into the same situation of the Hardy family office, Andrade family office, LFI, where you just have this giant group of people that nobody knows how they're supposed to work together or be any good.
yeah. Because if you that faction is already big enough, the firm, like you add two more people to it.
Mm-hmm. But as
That's
new, but as new as it is, you also don't want to make them lose to people who haven't done anything significant either. So I'm like,
that's true too.
I don't see how there's a good scenario, a good outcome here.
Like, so is Isaiah going to be there to make Ethan look really strong? Because Isaiah takes hits like a champ. But or or maybe I would like to see Isaiah get his win on TV. That would be cool.
I feel like
But only if he comes out after the rope. Like if they do that entrance, they got to do that. They can't just come out.
if they ever have a championship win celebration, they need to replace all the ropes on the ring with felt ropes
Yeah.
or velvet ropes. But next we have Warjo versus the Factory. QT talks a little bit of shit about the name and everything before the match. At one point, Joe holds down Nick Camarado for Wardlow to hit a senton, which is then Joe turns around and chokes him out for the win.
Yeah.
This match was more so for what happened after.
Yeah. Yeah. The during the match was nothing to note really. Joe did his signature move out of the way while someone's diving off the top rope thing and just walk away.
Yeah. I always love that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's effective.
And the thing, he does it in such a smooth manner that's like, turn, look, nope. But
Mhm.
even the start of what happened after, I really didn't even want to see or hear. But I guess by the end, it wasn't so bad
Yeah,
because they had started after the match. Um, Warlow was starting up the Powerbomb Symphony on QT Marshall. You know, again, the whole one more time chant and all that good stuff. And then the embassies interrupts, and then
yeah,
nobody was happy.
yeah. They weren't blah. They were blah 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 and blah 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 blah. But basically, they called out FTR.
For sticking their nose where in their business where it doesn't belong. Because no, they were calling out Warjo for them interfering with them attacking FTR. And that's why they were like, yeah, because we haven't seen FTR around all day, and that's when FTR's music hits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they say, we see there's three of you. There's two of, well, there's four of us, but then there's only two of us. So we actually have a partner in mind. Perfect for Toronto, Canada. When Rampage starts at what time? So that was his whole gimmick in NXT, and it carried over. People would chant 10 and everything for him. If you go back some years, you'll actually see a Royal Rumble entry at number 10 where before his music ever hit, everyone was chanting 10 because it better have been Dillinger. But now he's there, and the music hits, and we come back to see, or Sean Spears has made a comeback. And you'll see in his shirt, it said perfection, but the ION at the end, the IO
Yeah.
was the number 10.
No, I'm his music is different from the one that I heard. So I've seen him not as MJF's butt buddy one time, and that was that the one pay-per-view that AEW has on YouTube. All in, I think that
Okay.
that was. And I saw him there, and I liked his song there, but I didn't care about the song that came on today. That's the only thing I have of note.
Yeah. They did refer to the Pinnacle as they were introducing them too. So, you know, kind of a little bit of throwback. Because in that ring, you had four of the members of the Pinnacle. The only one that wasn't there was MJF.
Yeah,
But,
Pinnacle.
but you know, MJF and Wardlow aren't going to be on the same side anytime soon.
Wouldn't make any sense.
Nope. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll talk about MJF in a minute.
yeah. After it was just Jericho Appreciation Society backstage with Tony Schiavone, they talk about how Danielson has made this personal over, you know, Garcia. Now Garcia won't even return Jericho's calls.
Yeah, that's some bullshit, man. You call Jericho back.
Now, the next match, though, was surprisingly more fun than I thought it would be.
Mhm.
Actually, okay, the match itself was better than I thought it would be. It was a lot more fun, like a lot more fun than I thought it would be. You got to see your favorite taunt in the world as I don't even have it as my notes as Billy Gunn. It literally says Swerve versus Daddy Ass.
Yep. Yeah, he's not Billy Gunn anymore. Rebranding completely. Name is Daddy Ass. But yeah, he did the. I don't know if there was there. So if there's any No Mercy fans watching, he did the taunt where he pulls out his butt. He turns and he turns to the side and pulls. But yeah, obviously he can't pull his butt out. But in the game, it used to make your like a sensor white blur there, even on my black character when I had to use that taunt. It was pretty great.
Yeah, he went to do a few, like he did it a couple of times, and I just was cracking up over it. But they really played up Billy being bigger and stronger, not only in the style of the match with the power game versus the speed game, but Billy kicked out the swerve stomp,
Yeah.
surprised the hell
First
out of
time I've
Swerve.
seen that
I,
is
I,
once he gets that stomp, the match is over.
mhm. Especially because a lot of time, well, not every time, but a lot of times Keith Lee is usually involved in some way right
Hmm.
before it, like the power bomb and the stomp or something. But even when they won the tag titles, the guy was held up in the ropes.
Mm.
It was Ricky, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Um, but Billy actually went to go for the one, his whole full Nelson slam thing they used to do. And Swerve kind of counters it with a like an arm drag and rolls into a pin and then uses the ropes to get the win.
I swear. Did it.
The Acclaim comes down to check on Billy. They kind of give Swerve like a little bit of a like a shove off kind of thing as they pass him, but they were
Hmm.
mainly going down just to check on Billy.
Yeah. And say, hey, he messed up that old man's knees. Old man shouldn't have been in the ring.
Right. In my head, I'm like, is there anything that would be worse than, or like an easier target for an old man than taking out the legs? But at the same time, I was like, it's a wrestling ring. I don't want to drop on my back. I don't want anybody hitting my knees. Just, I want to wrestle like the Great Khali. I just want to stand up straight and use my hands.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um, I have no idea where this is going to go, but they went to do a scissor party once Billy's all back up, and then they get interrupted by Mark Sterling, who once again is coming out to tell somebody that he trademarked some shit out from underneath them. He owns the words "scissor me."
In wrestling.
Yep,
Hmm.
and you know if they want to use or all the T-shirt sales, everything else, it goes to him. And then they went to go do it, and he was like, "I want to do that." Then he was like, "No, what? Go ahead and do it. I'll sue, and you'll be stuck in the courts for so long that you'll have to forfeit the titles." And then he said,
Yeah.
"Scissor me, daddy niece." To be fair, we saw more personality out of Tony Nese when he was being scissored than we have in the rest of his AEW career.
I know. I loved it. I loved it.
They look
They
like
stole
they
the scissors.
they look like they were being electrocuted. They shook so hard.
It looks like they always wanted to do this.
They were
Like,
busting at the same
man.
time.
Yeah, they were like secretly were like, I've always wanted to be part of the acclaimed.
I always wanted to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty good. They and then Mark Sterling, it sounds like he's just trying to leverage a tag championship match.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, yeah, if you got an offer, we can talk.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen because this is the second tag team that he said it to after he did it to the Varsity Blondes. So I don't know how like he's just gonna end up owning like half the tag division. Legal. Well, no, sorry. That would be Stokely because he actually has the contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, Stokely. Stokely is going to be the owner of AEW very soon. Just watch.
But speaking of Stokely, because the next thing on up was Alex Marvez with MJF, and he's asking about last week with you to talk to him about how he looked like he was going to shake hands, but Stokely interrupts him right away.
Yeah, before he even says anything, Stokely's like, yeah, man, we had a good week last week.
MJF wasn't so happy though. He's like, basically right now, this is strike two. Last week was strike one. We got involved when he was not inquired to. He basically shoes off Stokely, like, go, bye bye, leave.
Yeah, it's like we're not gonna do that whole AEW trope where you interrupt my backstage promo
Yeah, he called
and told
himself
him he
daddy.
looks like Carlton.
Now the funny thing is as he left after MJF kind of like blew him off and said what he said, Stokely kind of like scoffed at him as he walked away, just went or whatever. Like there was some
Yeah.
kind of reaction, so they're not happy
Mhm.
campers, two peas in the pod, everything's perfect over there. So I have no idea how that's gonna play out. It's just you don't expect to see that right away.
Yeah. I don't know. He's gonna take his Carlton wardrobe elsewhere. That's what I know.
um MJF basically says he doesn't know if he was actually going to shake Yuta's hands. He learned very early on that nice guys finish last, and basically goes on about says people don't know what it's like to be MJF, having to be the best. People don't like him, but when he's out there, people don't like him either. By hook or by crook, he will be the champion.
Yeah. When are you gonna do it, MJF? Are you waiting until Full Gear now?
Who knows? Because he certainly moved from that interview to his suite pretty quick. Because next was the Moxley promo. Oh wait, it couldn't have been that quick. You could walk the whole. You could do a whole lap around the arena
Yeah,
during
there's
Mox's
probably
entrance.
yeah. So was there? No, there wasn't commercial there. But
Uh,
yeah, introducing Mox and then Mox getting to the ring. That's plenty of time to get to your seat.
Like I definitely don't take notes on when the. Sometimes I have taken notes on when commercial break is. I did at first, but then I realized a lot of times it was obvious because you would go to commercial and have an interview with
Mhm.
Tony Schiavone, and then you'd come back from commercial and you would have a interview with Tony somewhere else in the arena. So it's like, okay, clearly there must have been a commercial break at this point.
Yeah, there's gotta be. I think there was something there.
Um, Max just pretty much talks about what it takes to be champ. It's a dirty job. You gotta be ruthless and indiscriminate. Which brings them to Hangman, Adam Page, and instantly Hangman music hits.
Yeah. Before he even gets to say anything about him, he's just like, this brings me to Hangman Adam Page. I
Hey,
liked it.
I call that a blessing in disguise because you know what that means? Less Moxley rambling, and I think we got a pretty solid promo out of Hangman.
Yeah, I
Maybe
liked it.
some of the words and some of the, I don't want to say repetition or whatever.
Yeah,
Not
but
like the greatest words, but the effects of some of the stuff he did.
the feel, yeah, he definitely that was the strongest like emotional promo type of like just anything from Hangman I've seen. That was
That wasn't super awkward and off script with
yeah,
CM Punk.
yeah,
Um, because at one point he starts hitting himself over the head to kind of get a point. Like he keeps coming back. He just
yeah.
stands up
He's
and
like
he's still
I
here
feel
because I'm a man.
yeah, just punching the shit out of himself.
He made
Like
himself bleed.
he's gonna have a black eye too.
Oh, this whole area was just
Because his
so red
whole
and swollen.
yeah, he punched the shit out of himself.
Mm-hmm. At first he just says, Mox paid him respect, and that meant all the world to him. But then Mox called him a nice kid. Is that what he is? A kid to him? Mox goes, "That's exactly what I think. You're not the same guy that threw me off a 20-foot ladder. You don't have the guts to pull the trigger when it's time to put me down and out." Hangman goes, "You're right. I hesitated in May. and then I turned around and I went for the trios championships with my friends and I lost, and they're disappearing slowly. My old friends, they've already disappeared. He's lost everything, but he's still here. He keeps coming back because he's a man. Talks about like depression, medication, just getting through
Mm.
everything. And yeah, he
Yeah,
got
that was really good. And then he got rewarded by the crowd with MJF chants.
yep.
I
But he
was
handled
like,
it
all right.
nicely
Mm-hmm.
because he got to turn that into like an emphatic statement to end the promo because he says, unlike MJF, as they point up to him in the crowd, he wanted to say it face to face, man to Mox. Then they had like he goes to leave and they have like a stare down as he's like leaving. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, he was like, I can't see out of my right eye, so I can't tell if you want to fight or if I should just get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
He eventually chose to just get out of there.
Because originally I thought about making that when he started punching himself as the hit of the night, and that's why I had asked early on. Uh,
That
next,
was we'll give that an honorable mention.
well, no, we've already passed it, so I gave there was a sucks like sucks.
Yeah,
I should have put it up there.
no, you don't have to put the graphic up. It's just an honorable mention, that's all.
Um,
But I will.
next it was the Jericho versus Danielson Ring of Honor title match. They did have a little bit of a video again before this, but I'm not making notes on little hype up videos anymore. It's not happening. Um, Jericho,
Ah,
he's
dude.
he's a Lionheart. He very much wrestled like old school Jericho throughout this match. Early on, he even hit a top rope Hurricane Rana. Like, yay for showing that you still have some athleticism and you're not just a 5'11" brawler. But there was a rough bump later on in this match, and I honestly feel like it was not a very wrestling trope kind of ref bump where it was like obvious that it was coming and everything. When the ref went down this match, it actually felt like an accident.
It did. It looked they like this they did a really good job of making it look like it wasn't supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a number of times, like I remember there was a match where a turnbuckle got ripped off. It might have been Jericho versus Kingston a long time ago. I know it was a Kingston match, but
I know what you're talking about.
they make little things like that that look like accidents, but it was a part of the story. They do it well, but
Mm-hmm.
Jericho grabs the Ring of Honor title, acts like he's about to blast Danielson with it. Garcia comes running out. When Garcia is in the ring and he goes to stop Jericho, Danielson's already kind of like sitting in the corner smiling because he realized that Garcia came out to help him. He pushes Jericho. Danielson hits the Psycho knee, starts like celebrating in the ring. Then what happened, Range?
And Danielson got hit in the face with the belt.
Garcia turned on him.
Garcia said, nah, man. You don't get to capitalize off of this. I'm gonna
Um,
make you lose this match.
and Jericho, and this is some attention to detail I like. When Jericho went to cover him, he made sure to get on the other side of the body and kick the title out of the ring. Even though it was completely out of the way. And Jericho got the win. And Garcia celebrated with the JAS again, although he wasn't as ecstatic about everything. He was a lot more, he was the most serious member of the JAS for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's gonna be the JAS serious guy. Which means not serious. I wonder if he's gonna have to wear that hat again. Ooh, no, him and Jake Hager are gonna have to have a match
That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe
to
he's
see who
just,
gets to wear that hat.
he gets to kind of fill Hager's role since, I mean, not the role in terms of being the big guy, but just being the more serious guy who's going to fuck people up for Jericho
Mm-hmm.
down the line.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. I was rooting for him to be a BCC member.
Um, What did you think about this next backstage little thing? Because it was Renee Young with Nyla, Vicky, Marina Shafir.
Mm. Um, it was a thing that was happening. My thoughts about this is I only like the last line when Nyla says it was corny, but wrestling is corny and I like corny stuff. And Nyla says, "You know what, NJAS? Show up Friday and I'll whoop your ASS."
Uh, because and that's what I was curious about because like Vicky, okay, Marina Shafir should never talk, she should never do anything, whatever. I'm not even paying attention to her. And I'm sorry, your husband is an amazing wrestler, and somehow you haven't learned a damn thing. Um, Vicky is Vicky. She goes to talk a little bit, but Nyla did a lot of talking during this. And she very much showed her personality that we get to see in vlogs and Twitter and stuff like that. And that's where I was really curious is how you felt about Nyla's line because I thought Nyla's actually pretty entertaining in some of the things that she said.
Yeah. Yeah. Nyla was pretty good. Like I said, that last line was just the one that I noted because I was like, all right, Nyla, that's what's up.
Yeah, I didn't make too many notes. It's just
But
basically, she said she's a champion. Possession's 9/10 of the law. And to quote an Arnold, or was it Stallone? Or was it Arnold that she said? But she said the movie about judges, she's like, I am
oh,
the
that was
law.
Stallone.
That's what would make sense. But in my head, for some reason, I thought she said Schwarzenegger. And I was like, no, Stallone makes more sense. But I'm like,
Yes, Stallone.
but yeah. So
Stallone, baloney.
they're having a match on Rampage for the TBS title that isn't even Nyla's title.
But it's a title though,
Yeah.
and
So.
she wants it. She wants to keep on having it. That's but Anna JS was like, I want to challenge you for that title that you're not supposed to have.
Yeah, she even like said it like that too. It's like, yeah, oh, basically, it's like nobody was gonna beat Jade. So hey, let's challenge this other person.
She's like, hey, you've been beaten before. Let me try this.
But
Let
then we
me that
go
bill.
from the TBS title to another match in which the AEW Women's Champion is the least popular person in the match.
Yep.
I don't know how they've been managing to do that for 6+ months now. Because Thunder
Yeah,
Rosa was even the most popular person in a lot of her matches towards the end.
no. I mean, it's you've got DMD, JB Hater, and Hikaru Shida. Those are like the three most over women wrestlers, pretty much, other than Jade.
And Cheetah would possibly be a whole lot more over if she was, I don't want to say used consistently because there's other facets to why she hasn't been
Right.
on TV tone. Well, first of all, she's, been in Japan doing stuff. I know she was injured at some point before that. I will say Tony finally had ring gear that I don't know. Like she looked good in that ring gear. Not saying that she doesn't like look good, but usually it's that like that plain black, that plain red or whatever. And this was a little bit different and I don't know, it just as a character it felt like it gave her more.
Yeah, I liked her ring gear. I don't know. I didn't. I liked it. I didn't think too much else of it though. Uh, I did think in this match that she kind of came out a little bit more on fire. Like it seemed like her strikes were more realistic and everything. I don't know, just everything was more crisp from Tony. This was my first time actually like being like, "Oh, all right, Tony,"
Yeah.
even though this was the Hikaru Shida match.
They've been doing like we talked about it before, like a month ago. She had the match where she was the focus, and obviously
Mhm.
you've had matches where Jamie was the focus. Recently, we had the match where Willow was the focus. They are trying to, kind of get that next wave of people coming, and I need it to happen sooner rather than later because the least most popular person in the match should not be your world champion. It's that simple.
Well, she's going to be the champion until, at the very least, until Thunder Rosa comes back. So you just got to deal with it, man.
No, don't go with that same thing where it has to be the same two people. Just move on. Let Jamie Hayter win it at the pay per view.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I think could throw a wrench in their plans. Is it's kind of hard to ignore that Jamie Hayter is the most over woman's wrestler right now.
Not only that, but think about it. Tony versus Thunder Rosa was supposed to be face versus face, so you're not even throwing off that dynamic at all.
Yeah,
If you just let, whether it be Tony or Thunder Rosa, you could have, just let move on to Jamie and then get into the next program, whatever that was going to be.
yeah, yeah, and then
Might be Jamie back to Hikaru Shida, or yeah, it's got to be because I feel like if Willow's going to win a championship, one, it's not going to be going right to the world title. But you
no,
could see maybe them kind of building up her up slowly to be the one that takes her from Jade, considering how that last promo went in match.
she's like, I lost a million times, but it's okay. I'm gonna try again. Oh, you can't keep winning forever. I love it. She was just like, I don't know. I don't think anything's changed, but you're not gonna win forever, so I'm gonna try it. Let's take a chance.
And like her whole face was like to try to look to be like determined, being the other dog, and that's why I'm like, I could see this playing into the eventual story of her winning down the line after like her third try versus Jade or whatever.
I think this was Jade said this was her third time losing to
Yeah.
her, or well, this that the at Battle of the Belts was going to be her third time, which ended up being her third time.
Um. But yeah, Sheeta ended up getting a roll up counter pin on Britt after they countered each other for like about a minute straight on different maneuvers. And then we had a weird Butcher Blade backstage promo. I don't want to say weird, but it was another promo kind of like Ortiz back in the day where they just kept yelling, "Fight us, fight us, fight us" at the end of it. But they want Claudio and Mox by proxy after they Claudio embarrassed Rush and his boys when they showed a clip of Claudio doing the swing on Private Party with one on the shoulders and one being swung. So now Mox and Claudio have to face real men on Rampage. You hear that? Private Party isn't real men.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because
But
they're the real party.
hey, Butcher and Blade, it's not our fault that they look like 20 to 25 years younger than you. You old looking bastards.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna say, especially Butcher. He looks like he's 100.
Butcher definitely looks older. Yep. Oh, I've already forgotten the joke. What was the guy's name? That's his brother.
Huh?
You remember the guy that we said that looks just like him that came in for the one-off appearance in AEW?
Oh, I forgot about the Butcher's brother.
For some reason, the name Terry comes to mind, but I don't know why.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I don't remember because I probably wrote it down as Butcher's brother. That is what his name is.
Oh, I know it.
So,
I got it. It was Silas Young.
okay, Butcher brother.
Butcher's brother is Silas Young.
Okay, yeah.
Uh,
Butcher's brother.
But then the main event, and by this match being the main event,
Mm,
you
mm,
know who was going to win because you have Pac versus Orange Cassidy going on after the Ring of Honor title match.
yeah. And this match has already happened once before. AEW rematches always go the opposite way, it seems like.
Now, I mean, Jericho has now won, I think, is him and Danielson, have they fought 4 times now in the last couple of months?
Three. I think that was the third
The
one.
third, okay, then at least went Jericho, Danielson, Jericho at the very minimum.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I felt like there was a fourth because I didn't think Jericho would beat Danielson twice when he did. I can't remember, but that might have been a different one. Oh, because AEW said so good about not doing rematches so often early on, but now it's kind of evening out to the point where not everything's a new matchup. So rematches happen. But thank God they don't happen a week after, and then a week
Right.
later again, and then a week later again, and a week later again.
Yeah, because these were like they faced each other a really long time ago. They're because they've both been in AEW for a bit. And then there was the one recently for the belt
That Pac hit him in the head with a hammer.
that Pac won. And it was like, yep, that definitely means that Orange Cassidy is going to win this belt today.
You know, I mean, early
And he
on,
did.
they kind of played the Pac being dominant because like Orange Cassidy went for that tope, suicide dive, DDT through the ropes that Pac caught him and him with the Falcon Arrow, and
That was
then
wild. That was
and
almost my hit of the night. It was
and
this close.
but then and then during picture in picture they decided to have Pac hit a tombstone pile driver on the stage, and at the end of picture in picture, what your end of picture in picture was Orange Cassidy laying on his back and just doing his rolling spot down the ramp all the way back to the ring, but so he can beat the 10 count.
Yep,
I,
he just barely stumbles into the ring before the count ends.
I'm not
Wild.
not gonna lie, the rolling down the ramp made me laugh. I even
It
put
did.
LOL in my notes. Uh, One point, Pac went to go
I
get the hammer,
remember. Nah.
and Bryce actually went over there and stopped him from getting the hammer. Like, nope, not this time. And that is when, just to use it, to make sure I use it, is when Orange Cassidy hit another hardest hit of the night. Because this time he hit his DDT on the outside, and Peck kind of rolled through it looking like he was having a seizure.
Oh yeah, Pac did sell this pretty
There
it was
is
weird, but it was cool.
there is no one better that I have seen at consistently selling a DDT than the bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, Pac. By the way, this was one hell of a match.
It wasn't even super long,
In
but
general,
it was
yeah, it
good.
wasn't, but it was what we got for the time that we got. That was a good match.
I feel like the women's tag match was that way too. It was very fast paced and a lot of things happened.
Mhm.
But for the amount of time that it had, it was good.
That and Hikaru Shida got to do a lot of stuff.
Um, but eventually Pac went for the hammer again, and we got Danhausen like all dressed up wearing a hoodie. I think he had like a handkerchief scarf bandana kind of thing covering his face. He had a hood up, and he takes it all off when he stops him, and then he curses Pac. Pac hits him, but that's right there. That's when I told you Pac's hell reign is officially over. You can't get cursed by Danhausen in the middle of a championship match.
Yeah, you're not gonna win. The
Um,
curse is too strong. It's the strongest move in wrestling.
but after all that stuff happened, eventually Orange Cassidy gets better. Pac gets back in the ring, and Orange Cassidy hits a couple of orange punches for the win. It took two.
Hmm. He could have used one Draymond Green punch, and it would have been enough. Just saying.